What's going on, everyone? So sometimes the best trade is just a simple trade, right? Easy swap. And one of those trades that I think would be a very easy swap that would make sense for both sides would be a Harrison Barnes for a Rui Hachimura trade. Now, the reason I think it would make a lot of sense for both sides and both parties, the contracts are very similar. They're both on expiring contracts. And assuming that the Spurs land a Kevin Durant, right, they could probably use a Rui Hachimura more than a Harrison Barnes, where the Lakers could use a Harrison Barnes more than a Rui Hachimura, primarily because they need the 3-and-D defense, particularly slotted at the 3 spot. And have a Harrison Barnes, who's a more veteran guy, who, by the way, you're in the process of trying to win now, right? You have LeBron James. Yes, Rui is a couple years younger, which is why San Antonio would probably just do the swap. Maybe you could even get a 2nd-round pick or something like that, because Rui is, you could argue the better player as well as younger, right? And kind of fits their timeline more, where Harrison Barnes fits the Lakers' timeline more while also solving a bigger need. Also, it gives the Lakers that maintained flexibility while also giving the Lakers that contract, if that trade comes along, that you would pony up Rui for, you would still be able to make that trade, make that move, right? Where, now instead of the 18 million, you'd have the 19 million. Now, here's the thing though. Harrison Barnes makes about 800,000 more than Rui Hachimura. So you probably have to do something else, like add a Shake Milton in the deal, which is why maybe you could do a 2nd-round pick and they could just kind of waive Shake Milton. So not only are they getting Rui, but they're also clearing, 800,000 off their books a little bit, right? So it's kind of like, hey, throw us a second or something like that. You're also getting the younger player, right? So maybe you could do something like that. I would love if you could work something out to where, you land Harrison Barnes and the 14th pick, right? But chances are the 14th pick is going to go to Kevin Durant. Why would the Spurs want this, right? Is the real thing. Why would the Spurs want Rui Hachimura? Because again, let's go into the assumption that they trade for Kevin Durant or Giannis, right? They trade for Giannis. I think you could argue Harrison Barnes make more sense, but Harrison Barnes probably has to go in the deal for Giannis. But Kevin Durant, they could trade for Kevin Durant, still keep Harrison Barnes, and then work at a deal for Rui Hachimura. You could even maybe do a 3-team trade to where, if Harrison Barnes does get included in the Phoenix deal for Kevin Durant, maybe the Lakers come in and send Rui and go, hey, here's a younger guy that kind of fits your core. Again, kind of the same argument. Like Devin Booker, Rui Hachimura slots in at the 4. You already have all the other guys out on the perimeter. You really could use a 4 next to Nick Richards, right? So maybe even in a potential Phoenix Suns trade, maybe the Lakers could still land a Harrison Barnes, right? But for me, I look at it as again, if the Spurs land a Kevin Durant, they have De'Aaron Fox at the point, Stephon Castle at the 2, Dylan Harper also probably going to draft with the number 2 pick, Kevin Durant at the 3, Victor Wembanyama at the 5. Now they do have Jeremy Sohan, but you need the shooting, right? You need the floor spacing. You need those things. And Rui Hachimura is a guy that also you could slot at either forward spot. The problem is Rui is better suited as a 4 rather than a 3. He has kind of had to adapt and evolve to play the 3, but he is better suited naturally as a 4. Guy that can self-create, guy that can, be a swing man, guy that can rebound a little bit, and I think he'd be better rebounding at the 4 than he is at the 3, right? Because he'd be closer to the rim, but also be that floor spacer, which they need. Slot alongside De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama and all that stuff, right? And the other argument is you look at Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes was a very good 3-point shooter for them, right? Harrison Barnes shot the 3 ball extremely well, right? But so did Rui Hachimura, right? Rui Hachimura last year, 13, 5, and 1.5 assists, right? Well, you look at Harrison Barnes, he was 12, 4, and 2 assists. Their stat lines are nearly identical, right? I mean, literally nearly identical. You go into Harrison Barnes and you look at his percentages, right? Harrison Barnes, played all 82 games, played all 82 games last 3 years, which is very important. But 82 games played, 82 games started, 27.2 minutes per game. Shot 50% from the floor on 8.3 attempts. Shot 43.3% on 4.4 attempts from 3-point range. Shot 59.1% from 2-point range, 62.2% EFG. Shot 81% from the free throw line. Grabbed, again, 3.8 rebounds, 1.7 assists, half a steal, half a block, and 12.30 points per game. Well, if you go and you look at Rui Hachimura, right? Rui Hachimura provided in 59 games played, 31.7 minutes, took 9.8 attempts, shot 51% from the floor, shot 41.3% on 4.2 attempts, so 0.2 attempts less, but similar three-point percentage on 41.3%, shot 58.1% from two-point range on 5.6 attempts, shot EFG of 59.7%, free throw line 77%, 5 rebounds, 1.4 assists, a steal, half a block, 13.1 points per game. So again, very similar production, very similar style. But again, one guy is more lower center of gravity, right? Versatile, better slotted as your 4, right? Especially slotted alongside Victor Wembanyama, Rui Hachimura. You could even kind of get creative as far as like defending kind of centers and whatnot, as we saw with the Lakers, with Wemby as like the help defender, spread the floor with Rui Hachimura, right? Where for the Lakers, again, Harrison Barnes gives you that more athletic, better lateral, kind of twitchier, right? 3-and-D style veteran that can help a team win now. But you still maintain all of the flexibilities that you do with a Rui Hachimura, right? Rui Hachimura is on an expiring contract. Again, so is Harrison Barnes. So you still have, if it works out, great. You can re-sign him on a cheaper deal, right, into his later years and have him be a 3-and-D guy off the bench. If it doesn't work out, you let him go and you're fine. And now you clear that $19 million off your books, right? And you add him to a, Jared Vanderbilt and a Dorian Finney-Smith, right? And you could even maybe look to trade Jared Vanderbilt at that point because you'd have Dorian Finney-Smith and you'd have a Harrison Barnes. Both guys also can play either forward spot, so you get that versatility from those two. So you could go with both a Harrison Barnes and a Dorian Finney-Smith, and even like a LeBron James, and go, even if you go those small ball lineups, right? Give you the shooting, give you the floor spacing. Harrison Barnes is just a better natural 3. He slots in better as a 3 as opposed to Rui Hachimura, who again is a 4 that has to play the 3 on occasion. So I think a clean, just like a clean swap, again, can you maybe get a second round pick or something to where, Lakers kind of feel like they win, maybe even a second round in this draft, right? So maybe Lakers have 2 second rounds in this draft. So if you told me you got like a Harrison Barnes plus a second round pick for a Rui Hachimura, who makes sense for, again, a San Antonio Spurs team, Lakers get back a veteran who better slots in, that you could even start if you want to, right? And give you the same production that Rui Hachimura gives you, but better defense and better defensive versatility. I just think that would be much better for a Lakers team. Where the Spurs, again, they need the offense. They need his size. They need his physicality, particularly on the inside. They already have a De'Aaron Fox who can be that point of attack defensive guard. They already have a Stephon Castle that can be that. They have a, Jeremy Sohan and a, Victor Wembanyama. They already have the defensive pieces. They need more of those offensive pieces that can also kind of fill in and slot in what they need. They go get a Kevin Durant, then you have an even bigger need at the 4, right? Although Kevin Durant could play the 4 also, but still you could have him slotted at the 3, Rui at the floor. Now he slots in at his natural position. And for the Lakers, again, they just get that better 3-and-D guy. I just prefer Harrison Barnes over Rui Hachimura, especially if you can get kind of that second round pick or something, right? Because again, Lakers are trying to win right now while still maintaining the flexibility for the future. Harrison Barnes gives you that, right? He gives you the same production, right? Top of giving you a better piece that slots in naturally while still giving you the future flexibility through his contract, through his tradability. You could still trade him at the trade deadline if you wanted to if that trade does come along, that you'd look for Rui Hachimura, right? And then for the Spurs, again, they're getting the younger guy. They're getting the guy that slots in better, right? I just think that that's one of it's a very simple trade. It's not it's not a sexy trade. It's not the trade that you look at and go, oh man, that's the move that really breaks the bank for the Lakers. That's the move but it's a move that I think moves the needle, maybe marginally, but it does. Like, again, that's the difference, right? Like a an extra stop or two can be the difference between you winning some of these playoff series even, right? I mean, a lot of those Minnesota games were very winnable. Lakers were in the mix, and you get an extra stop or two, you're winning those games. The Denver series, right? Same thing. You get a stop or two, you're winning those series, right? But you look and it's like, okay, well, you have Luka Doncic. All right. Well, who's next to him, right? An athlete. It's got to be, right? Oh, well, you got, Austin Reeves. Okay, well, you must have an insane athlete next to Austin Reeves. And it's like, no, it's Rui Hachimura, right? And again, I love Rui. I think he's an excellent player, but Harrison Barnes would just be the better slot guy at the three. That veteran that has been there and done that, won a championship, right? Can hit the big shots in the big moments, not afraid of the moment. I mean, he hit big shots for Golden State, right? Guy that easily can be that 3-and-D guy for you, playing off of LeBron and Luka Doncic. I mean, he'd have a field day. I mean, he was doing that playing off of Chris Paul, right? Which, love Chris Paul, but, Luka and LeBron are next level, right? And just the attention that they draw and all that stuff. Harrison Barnes, I think, would have a field day with these opposing teams, right? But also just gives you that defense, gives you that switchability, his ability to defend, 1 through 4, right? And even on some occasions, maybe even a 5, right? So I would prefer that defensive versatility, that athleticism, that lateral movement, right? Still strong, still physical. He can create a little bit for himself, create a little bit for others. I would prefer that. And again, if you can get a second round pick or something that you can use as a trade or, in a just to draft a guy, right? You could add another piece that way, right? Maybe get 2 guys in the second round just as development guys and pieces that you can build upon, right? I sometimes the simple trade is one of the better trades. And you still have the flexibility to go do anything else. It's not going to cost you any other assets or anything, right? You get a guy that can help now, give you the production of Rui Hachimura, as well as kind of raise the ceiling a little bit and be a better natural fit. I'd rather go that route personally. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.